What is going on, guys? It is Os with Gone 60. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. It is amazing out here in Utah. Look at that. Anyways, guys, today we're going to be covering 5 kind of weird things about the Chevy Camaro. So maybe if you guys are very familiar with Camaros, some of this stuff might not all be that new to you. However, if you're in the market kind of considering a Camaro, I would kind of consider these 5 things because I think they're a little weird when it comes to the Camaro. Some of them just pertain to Camaros in general, and some of them honestly just pertain to the manual transmission and how that's set up. So with that, guys, we're going to jump into all the details so you guys are well informed if you're out there buying a new Camaro. Let's get it. Okay. Quit beeping at me. All right, guys, so let's jump into the things that I think are a little bit weird about the Camaro. This isn't a hate video by any means or things that I absolutely just hate. Some of these things I knew about, but maybe didn't pay much attention to. And some of them I honestly just didn't even know that it was gonna be this way. So my hope is to maybe shed some light on a few things that maybe some of you already know about, but if you're in the market for a Camaro, you know, these are a few things that maybe I wished I would have looked into or considered. It still wouldn't have altered me buying this car because I love it, I enjoy it, but it's definitely something that I want to chat about. So the first thing I want to talk about that is a little bit different, and this one's actually very heavily debated. I know it's different for every single car manufacturer, but this is something that I think is a little bit unique in that Chevy's break-in period for Camaros by the manual and what's recommended is 1,500 miles. 1,500. That is a lot. Since I had this car delivered, normally by the time I drove my Mustang home, my Challenger home, I had already broken in the car because their break-in periods were less. And so where I had this car delivered, I've been here for a couple months, you know, going to the gas station, wherever I can go to try and get my miles up so I can fully unload on this car. Now, I know it's heavily debated. There's a lot of opinions out there. You know, I have heard things such as, hey, drive it how you want it to perform. Hey, these cars are meant to take abuse. Or, hey, just baby it in the first, 100 miles, or baby in the first 500 miles. There's so many topics on just everything that needs to happen on a motor getting broke in. However, Chevy and all the manufacturers, they don't want to have to replace an engine. They don't want to have to replace anything ever. That is their goal. And so I kind of trust what Chevy, what the book says, what engineers said, what they've studied, because obviously they have a liability in this that they don't want to be upside down replacing engines in cars. And so I think the 1,500 mile thing is a little weird. I think it's a little excessive. I've done pretty good. It has been really hard to try and wait that long. I would say probably for the first 600-700 miles, I really did baby the car. When I got closer to about 1,000, I started doing a little bit harder pulls in, but I'm never completely done an all-out pull. However, we're gonna do one today because we just crossed the 1,500 mile mark. We're at 1,507. So what Chevy recommends within the 1,500 mile break-in period is to not go above 80 miles an hour. Do not exceed 4,000 RPMs, and that can be for when you're driving, is also when you're downshifting. You don't want that to get above 4,000. They want you to vary the speed, in which you're going. You don't want to just stay in cruise control the whole time at a high speed. You want to kind of vary the RPMs. You want to vary the speed as you go down the road. And that's really what they recommend. And that was one thing that kind of caught me by surprise because, my Mustang and Challenger, don't quote me on this, but they're 500 to 1,000 miles, which I think is more realistic. I think 500 miles is just a lot more suitable, to be honest. But I did try and obey the 1,500 miles. It's been very, very difficult to do that, especially when you can kind of feel a little bit of the power of the car. But we're gonna do a pull here, and I'm gonna show you guys what this is all about. So we're gonna experience it both together, doing my first pull in the car. All right, first pull, baby. feels so good to get to the red line. All right, this next thing really only pertains to the 2SS 1LE. One of my favorite features up here is this actually turns into a camera. I've talked about it on other videos. I think it helps out with the visibility tremendously. So I love that it has this feature. The 2SS, the ZL1s, they both have them. However, one of the things that you are going to notice with this, and it was something that I didn't know anything about, is up here you have buttons, and you normally think that would be to program your garage door remote opener. However, when they switch to this type of a camera, backup camera with the mirror, you no longer have the ability to actually program your garage door opener to this. So it was something that kind of threw me off at first. You know, obviously I just have this kind of just standard guy. I think that's a drawback, a little bit of a sacrifice you have to make. Honestly though, I think I still prefer to have this be a camera going out the back, but that is something that's also a little bit weird about the car. So probably one of the weirdest things that you guys are going to come across with these cars, especially if you have a manual transmission on a Camaro, one of the big differences, I think, is how amazing the manual transmission is. However, there's a couple small drawbacks or weird things about it. First off, you're not going to have to pay gas guzzler tax if you're buying this car new, because Chevy found a way around that, and that's what we're going to talk about. So no gas guzzler tax buying a new Camaro. If you get into a ZL1, that's a different story. I read about this very late in the stage in buying the car. It didn't deter me from buying it. This bothers a lot of people really bad. It doesn't bother me that much based on how I drive the car, but I'll show some B-roll clip exactly of what I'm talking about and what the car is doing. But essentially, the way that Chevy was able to avoid the gas guzzler tax is they lock you out of gears when you're leaving off from first. And what I mean by that is if you kind of take off slowly in first gear and leave it in first gear for a little bit, I think it's like around like 2,000 RPM or up to 2,000 RPM or just above, it will automatically, when you go to shift, when you're trying to go to shift into second, it's automatically going to kick you over into fourth, which lugs the car. Supposedly it's supposed to help save on gas mileage, which it probably does, but it lugs the car. And this is probably one of the first mods that a lot of Camaro owners do. It was one I didn't choose to do right away because rocks were a bigger issue for me in buying this car, but you can get a skip shift eliminator underneath the car. It's really just a little module that you plug in. Really easy, cheap mod to do, problem solved. Or the other ways around it is you essentially just drive the car a little bit faster. You know, if you take off faster out of first gear, like if you're not just kind of putting along with the gas, it's the warning is going to go away, but you can't turn that warning off. It stays on there. So you have to get the skip shift eliminator, and essentially that's one of the weird things I think about the Camaros. I haven't found it to bug me all that much. There's only been a few times where it has, but I swear it has a mind of its own, and judging on your throttle, you know, your foot into the throttle. I find weird times when it comes on and when it doesn't, but most of the time how I drive, it doesn't come on. And what's kind of nice is where you have the heads-up display, especially on the 1LE 2SS, it distracts me from even looking down there anyways, and I don't notice it. So that is a big thing that you guys should probably know about. It's a little bit weird in my opinion. Hasn't bugged me. I'm probably going to get the skip shift eliminator for the car, but just pay attention that if you guys are getting one of these, it's going to be vastly different, because my Mustang, my Challenger, they didn't have those, but that is usually one of the first things that people find really odd and weird about the Camaros, especially the manuals. And one other thing, along with the car shifting you from first to fourth, is when you're on the braking period, especially, you know, kind of what we talked about, where you don't want to lug the car, that's exactly what it does. And so that kind of is contrary to what Chevy wants you to do when you're braking in these cars, that if you're not getting above 4,000, if you're just kind of shifting like really slow, it's going to lug the car quite a bit, and that is something that the braking procedure says you don't want to do. All right, another thing that honestly is just a little bit weird to me is you can see here, I love to golf. This is just kind of your standard stand bag. I actually had a cart bag before, and the only way I could fit it in here is if I put the rear seats down. But you can see here, my driver and my 3 would. So my driver, it literally comes all the way to right here. Now, the trunk space is really deep. It's just kind of awkward with the opening and everything. But if you guys do like to golf, you can get golf clubs back here. You can also put the seat down. I will say though, because of this top opening is so short, I actually preferred to not go that route. So if you guys do like to golf, I do find this just a little bit interesting or weird that they didn't do some research on this, because both the Mustang and Challengers, you can easily fit golf clubs in them. And honestly, this hasn't bugged me too bad, but I do think it's a little bit weird that you can't fit just a normal size set of golf clubs in here. And granted, you know, my driver, it's one of the newer models, so I think they're like 45, 46 inches, but that is how I have to put my golf clubs in the car. And one other item that I think people are kind of calling like the Easter egg, I'm not gonna actually go under my hood and do this for you guys, but rumor is, or what I've heard, if you have a 2020 or 2021, I'm not sure on the trim levels. I think it has to be an SS. You know, you have to have the LT1 motor. I'm not sure if LT1 owners have this, but what I've heard and what I've seen, if you just type in, you know, Camaro Easter egg 6th gen on YouTube or Google, you'll be able to find this. But what I've seen or what I've heard is if you have a 2020, 2021, maybe other years, I'm not a subject matter expert on this one, but one cool thing, if you take off kind of your engine cover, your valve cover, if you kind of look down close to the driver's side, kind of on the side of the block, one cool thing that Chevy has done is you might have a badge that shows who built your motor. That's kind of common with some of the higher end Shelbys and different things. So I think that's kind of a cool touch. I think it's, you know, people taking pride in their work, and I think that's cool. I'll probably eventually lift it off and look at it. You know, some people have had it, some people haven't, so it might be a little bit of an Easter egg hunt, but if you want to see if your car has it, I think that is something kind of weird, but also really cool. The weird thing that I think about it is, why hide that? Like, in my opinion, I would love to have that on the front block. I'd love to have that, you know, up where the Chevy Performance kind of logo is under the hood. So I think it's a little bit weird that they kind of hide that in there. Maybe they just are trying just to keep it neat, cool, maybe just something that people have. However, my background in marketing, I just think that, you know, not a lot of people that buy these cars are always taking their engine, you know, covers off, or valve covers off. And so I think it's cool, but I also think it's weird that they didn't kind of, you know, market that, I guess, a little bit more, because I would be proud to represent or see who built my motor, and maybe even hit them up or try and find them or tell people, yeah, this motor is built by someone. I think it just goes back to Chevy. Just please hire me, let me do marketing for you guys. You guys make some awesome products, but you don't really know how to market it, or you do really weird things that nobody will find out about unless somebody does a YouTube video or there's an online forum somewhere. Anyways, probably not the biggest thing that is going to deter you guys or make a big impact. I just think it's a little bit weird in how they do it. All right, one little extra bonus item, and this one, not a big deal, but I can't tell you how many times I pull up to a gas station on the wrong side of the pump. So on my Challenger Mustang, the gas pump is on the left side. On this car is on the right side. Throws me off every time. All right, guys, so that is it. Those are my 5 weird things about the Chevy Camaro. If you guys have anything else to add to this list, please leave a comment below. I love this car. I think it's awesome. I just think some of those things I covered are a little bit weird, a little bit unique. However, don't let this deter you from, don't let it detour you from buying the car. That still sounds weird, man. I don't know. But anyways, guys, don't let this stop you from buying these cars. They're awesome. You're gonna love them. You're gonna enjoy them. And if you guys find anything that I didn't include on here, please leave in the comments below. Thank you guys for all the support on the channel. The videos just keep doing awesome. I love making car content. I'm working on a few exciting things coming up that I'll be teasing you guys in the months to come. But hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.